Faith, the mission of the foundation, you talked about getting young people in there. Do you deal up to the age 12, or do you have to move out before that age?
When we first started, we would care for children up to the age of 6, and now we care for children up to the age of 12 in our home. But we also, at our New York-based facility, work with children in the after-school program. I am so delighted that from day one we took a family-centered approach, because now as we see this illness evolving, we realize that it's unique. It's very unique in the fact that it affects the entire family, both the infected child and the affected child.
Now, how long have you been doing this, Faye?
This is our anniversary year. This is the 25th anniversary of the foundation. It took us about 2 years to actually get the first home open. So the first home opened in '87, but this is the 25th anniversary of our foundation.
And AIDS has probably been diagnosed for about 25 years. Have you seen a lot of changes in not only the way we deal with it, but I mean, society is much more educated than they were in 25 years ago?
Yes, society is educated, but I think we have to be ever vigilant to make sure that the affected children enjoy life and want to live. It's very sad to see a child that may have escaped an illness that took his mother, father, baby brother, and sister go on to become infected. So I think having programs for the affected child is extremely important, more important now than ever.
And the demographic most affected by AIDS, do you think it's elderly? I was reading a story where people over 60 are the rising cases.
That's another statistic, another reality when I say it's not going away. People have an image of AIDS and who it affects, but we have to be very concerned about seniors. In fact, there was a woman who joined our board who was in her 60s because she wanted to dedicate her life to educating people who were over 60. She was able to pinpoint her illness to one sexual encounter that she had had 10 years prior.
It's amazing they can do that and then dedicate their lives to helping other people.
That's
Special
right.
person. John, the children, do they knock on your door? How do you get them in, first of all, to say, hey, we need to talk to you about child sexual abuse? How do you get them in the door?
They come through 3 basic sources. One is through the school system, so every teacher has a legal responsibility to report abuse. They come through the police department. They also come through DIFAS.
Do you think people tell the teacher, kids will tell a teacher? Do you think that happens? Or
the most common person that a child will tell is a teacher.
Because they trust the teacher.
And the teacher also is very good at follow-up. So a teacher will follow up until something happens. A parent is much more conflicted, and many children internalize and blame themselves for the abuse, so they feel that their parent's going to be mad, so they won't initially tell the parent. So it's usually a trusted person, a sibling, or a teacher is much more common.
Yeah, my daughter fell down one day and got hit on the head, and she said, I'm going to tell the teacher that you did this. I said, you better not, Jacqueline. So I kid around about that, but kids have been known to do that.
False reporting is actually very, very rare, and there is a screening system through DIFAS, a centralized screening system, with an algorithm about 18 questions that every person is asked. So that type of case, fortunately, Mr. Mayor, would not result in an investigation by our office.
That's a good thing, because you never know. But it's a very serious task that you have, and it's one that, God bless you that you do it every day, because it's important. If you guys can stay with us, we're going to take a break, have some commercials, and come back and talk more about the Run for Children on Sunday. For John Esmeralda and Dr. Faye Zeeland, please stay with us after these messages. Welcome back to our city. I'm with John Esmeralda, an assistant prosecutor in the Union County Prosecutor's Office, and Dr. Faye Zeeland, the executive director of the AIDS Resource Foundation for Children. And on this Sunday, we have the Run for Children, in which the proceeds will benefit both organizations. And John, the Union County Advocacy Center, I believe it started here in Elizabeth, and it's been here. Maybe you can tell us for how many years and
Certainly.
why you look forward to this Run for Children. Is it because of your ability to run?
In part, Mayor. One reason is in 1995, former prosecutor Drew Rotolo had a vision that we could do better for abused children, and so a home was purchased, and we have a partial wraparound model where investigators, detectives, and now we have therapists from Trinitas all at one location. We've outgrown that center. Our caseload has doubled since 2004.
It's on Westfield Avenue, correct?
We're at 123 Westfield Avenue, and it's a 3-story home. The Union County Board of Chosen Freeholders purchased a new site. It's 240 West Jersey Street, the old Leonard Funeral Home. So we'll go from 2,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet, and we'll have a staff of 17. We'll go to 26. So we'll be able to co-locate everybody: DIFUS, therapists, doctors, nurses, prosecutors, investigators, all at one location. So a child will not have to be located at 5 different locations to receive services. The child will go for one location. All the services will wrap around the child. So it's a big step forward.
Now, are you part of that remodeling effort too? Are you designing what color curtains and?
We have a wonderful architect with the GRA Architects. What we are trying to figure out is how to fit everybody. That's always a challenge.
And what about the room? The office space is it's office space, but the special part is the room where you interview the kids and how you deal with them.
Right.
So, are you getting involved in that? Or how do you deal with that?
We do have myself and several other staff members have met to make a child-friendly environment, and also a room for adolescents and a room for younger children, so it could be age appropriate. And we also need certain soundproofing and other requirements, place for parental therapy, individual therapy, medical examinations. So it does require a lot of planning. We hope to begin construction this summer and open in the fall of 2011.
Good. And Faye, the relationship between St. Clair's and the Elizabeth community. When you opened the house in Elizabeth, I know I worked with you on
Yes,
keeping
you
it there
did.
with Trinitas. They were going to move you out at one point. We worked together. So,
And
how's the relationship with Elizabeth?
the relationship is fantastic, and Mayor, I want to take this opportunity to thank the people of Elizabeth because it was a big step to open up the first home for children with AIDS in the country. You can imagine there were a home had gotten bombed, a home that was for I think mentally ill adults had gotten bombed just before we opened up ours, and we asked ourselves, is that going to be our experience? But it wasn't. I'm pleased to say the people of Elizabeth opened their arms to us in the beginning, and we appreciate it as much today as we did. Today, we appreciate it 25 years later. They're still there. The sheriff's department, fire department, police, merchants, volunteers at the hospital. People have they've put Elizabeth on the map. And and I wanted to share, this is a book that was just recently written by one of our former board members, Dr. Chris Hansen. He was also a medical director for the Division of Youth and Family Services. And I just went to his memorial service this past weekend. This is a doctor who has traveled the world. He's worked with children in Haiti, in Rwanda, Mississippi, Native American children. And in his book, he recognizes my husband and myself. He recognizes that little home in Elizabeth. He thanks us for introducing him to the issues that children with AIDS are dealing with. So I couldn't let this opportunity pass without thanking the people of Elizabeth, because that's the people of Elizabeth are the people who really should be thanked, because they could have closed the door and this doctor would not have received the education that he received, and the children, hundreds and hundreds of children, would not have received the help that they so readily deserved.
And Doug, the funds for the center that you're building, you talked about and renovating, is it county money? Is there private donations? Is there a campaign going on? And how's that going?